Hey, Mike.
Hello.
Hey, Mike.
Mike, this is Jacob Waddle. He's our new general manager.
Hello, Jacob.
Hi there. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Mike is with Lexon, and he sits on the Padella board. He also is in the office next door to us, just not today.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, I won't be far to find.
We can come harass you regularly.
Yeah, no problem.
So I saw Lee just accepted the meeting invite.
I talked to Amber too. She was definitely going to be here.
Okay, good. Lee?
Hello.
Hi, Lee.
You're muted, Lee.
Let me, okay, now, how's it going?
It's nice to meet you. I'm Jacob Waddle.
Jacob, nice to meet you.
Oh.
How are you? I don't have my name on here. Why is it not showing my name? It says unknown user. Oh, well.
It says Lee Moore, unverified.
Yep.
Okay, I didn't sign in with my Microsoft account. I just clicked. I didn't
Mine
want to go
says
through.
Lee Moore guest.
Oh, really? Yeah, okay, that's funny. All right, at least it's a small group. I think it'll be fine.
I
Official
typically have issues with Microsoft Teams because I'm talking on a Mac Pro.
Yeah, me too.
Oh yeah, so sometimes it gets glitchy.
Yeah, I usually sign in with Microsoft account and it gives me more functionality. I didn't do it this time. So I'm dealing with a lot of cities and stuff and counties and stuff that I do work with. They're all on Teams and I much rather be on Zoom, but oh well. I like the little Bucks thing there, Mike. Big Bucks
Oh, thank you. That's my office. I got a whole wall painted that way.
Wow. The old, yeah, old school.
Old school.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Where are you guys, Lauren? Where are you?
We're in the second floor of the Bank of America building.
I was about to say, I was trying to figure out, it looks like Mike's kind of the same area over there, his other office. Yeah.
Yep. We're his new neighbors.
Yeah.
So we can harass him easier.
Yeah. That's fun. It's back to where Town Hall was at one point, the 690 building, and then also in there too for a period of time.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, actually, the office she's in used to be Matt Kelly's old office.
Right. That's right. That's funny. Yeah.
But when, if you don't know who Matt Kelly is, he was Paige Pierce before Paige.
Oh, okay.
I have to say though, I went through the alphabet soups and I believe I was on this will make it every single alphabet soup for me that I've been on. So
At least once.
yes, exactly. CJC, CROA, CDD. Yeah, now CNOA.
Amber says she's waiting to be let in.
I see her right there. Hi, Amber.
Hey, everyone. How are you?
Good. I want to introduce Jacob Waddle. He's our new general manager here at Town Hall.
Hi, Amber. Nice to meet you.
Nice meeting you.
Alrighty. I am going to share the agenda.
Yeah, I'm going to put it up. I'm going to put it up anyway.
Okay. wait for 4 o'clock to turn. There we go. All right, so today is August 12th, 2024. It is 4 p.m. This is the Celebration Non-Residential Owners Association Board of Directors meeting. The meeting was properly noticed, and we do not yet have quorum because we need to appoint a third member. So I entertain a motion from one of our sitting to appoint our third member.
I'd like to make the motion to appoint Lee Moore to the CNOA board.
Do we have a second?
I second.
Right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Welcome, Lee, to CNOA.
Thank you.
We can now verify that we do have quorum, 3 out of 5, and call the meeting to order at 4 p.m. Let's see, there is an owner trying to come in. We are now at owner comments. Any owner comments? All right. Do we have a motion to adopt the agenda?
So moved.
Yeah.
All right, I'll give it to Lee and second to Mike. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Now that we have our third board member, I will open it up for election of officers. First for president. Is there anybody interested in taking the president role?
I would, probably because I've been on the board for over 10 years.
All right. Any objections from this?
Now make a motion to appoint Mike, to elect Mike, I guess.
Second from Amber?
Yes, I actually, the same here. I agree. To appoint Mike as president.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, Mike, I'm gonna turn the meeting over to you so you can
Okay.
run the show.
The next two positions we need to fill are obviously that of the vice president and secretary. If I could, I'd like to make in just one motion just because of the longevity on this board. I'd like to nominate Amber for vice president and Lee for secretary. Do I have a second on that?
Second. I don't know if you heard me. I said second for sure.
All in favor?
Aye.
Amber?
Aye.
All righty. Anything else you need from us, Lauren, for that?
Not on officers. We should move on to appointment of CJC members.
Yes. All right, so for CJC, obviously that is the joint committee between CNOA and CNOA. It's rather important, especially at this time that we transition away from Disney's Class B membership, because there are a lot of positions and a lot of different things that CNOA pays into in the CJC budget that we really need to take a look at from a business perspective. So 2 of us will need to serve on that CJC committee. I would like to serve. Do I have anyone else who would like to serve on that with me?
I would like to serve.
Leo, you okay with that?
No problem at all. Sounds good.
All right, so I'd like to appoint Amber and myself to that CJC committee.
All right.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. For the next thing, Lauren, could you give us a little bit of background on what exactly this extension involves and how this came about?
Yes. So CNOA has verbally committed to renegotiating the contract with Grand Manners for management services. They did not have the time they felt to properly negotiate that before the renewal date on November 1. They also wanted input from a management agreement task force that they put together with members of the community that finishes up in August. So basically, they want to extend the current contract terms to December 31, 2024, for negotiations to occur in that time frame. The overarching goal, from what I understand of what they're sharing with me, is they want to establish some more definitive performance metrics that may be tied to monetary penalties or things of that nature if we're not meeting our requirements.
Okay. One thing that I just want to say about this is, as CNOA, we need to remember that our management agreement and contract with Grand Manors is separate from that of CROA and CJC. So although I'm not opposed to the extension at all, we also need to keep in mind that whatever metrics they put in place also affect us as a CNOA board. Because if they made some radical decision to go with a different management company, that does not mean we have to go with a different management company. And also, if that were to occur, we would have to take on the burden of that management fee difference. So any questions or comments on this, Amber and Lee?
I've been through this a couple times, but it is good to point out that CROA put together the committee, but sometimes they don't realize that that affects the other entities, such as, this one. And I think that maybe, I don't know, maybe Lauren could maybe mention to that group that, it does affect it. So maybe they should be, I don't know, either one of us could stop into their meeting at some point and introduce ourselves or something, or just wait for them blindly for an outcome or something like that, because we'll either, hope that they include, CNOA kind of in their thoughts. But I think that's one thing that sometimes they forget when they put these things together, that it affects the other groups. So I don't really know what to do, but I think that's something that, if they're doing it, maybe Mike, reach out to CROA and kind of let them know that, don't forget, this affects us, and we'd like to know if you're doing anything radical or anything like that. We want a heads up, because like you said, we don't have to do the same thing that CROA is doing. Basically, certainly economies of scale makes sense, but doesn't mean it has to be.
Yeah. Well, I'll let both you and Amber know too, since this predates you. When Grand Manors was going through the contract process, and we were taking bids from multiple management companies, CNOA actually wrote in clauses that outline the fact that we have an out if our metrics or our determination for what's successful and what's not is different than that of CROA. We do have the right to go off with our own management company. Now, although CROA may have expressed some dissatisfaction with Grand Manors, the services that we've received as CNOA from Grand Manors has not been negative. So we just need to keep in mind that we can go a different direction if we're not getting the service that we intend as business owners. So, Lauren, I'd like to make a motion to recommend the CJC approval of the extension, with the caveat that they understand CNOA does maintain that right to separate it, if so choose.
Okay.
Do I have a second on that?
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Sorry for being slow. I'm not used to being in this position where I gotta ask for seconds and all that.
No, I would say don't forget. So I would say ask for if there's any discussion or something like that, just in case.
Any discussion on that matter?
Before you vote. Yeah. No, I don't think there was any. I think there's not too many of us. We'd probably jump in anyway, but still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Lauren, so you have what you need for that?
Yep.
Okay, and then the I-4 expansion, can you just give us a quick recap on that again? I think we've all read through that and kind of understand it, but.
Yeah, so FDOT's doing an expansion on I-4 in the Celebration Kissimmee area. It will cause some easements into land that could be subjected to the Celebration charter. However, it's not land that is necessarily usable, and TCC will not be subjecting it to the charter. So it's really just a paperwork of, yes, we're okay with you, establishing an easement over these areas that we're not going to use anyways.
And it's not Canoa owned anyway. Right.
Correct.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the question. What did you say, Mike?
It's not Canoa owned land anyway, so there's multiple layers that it would have to get to before it would even be subject to Canoa anyway.
Mhm.
Okay, thank you.
FDOT's just doing their homework, I guess, making sure.
Yeah.
All right, I'd like to make a motion then to approve item E, the I-4 expansion. Oh, any discussion?
No, I agree.
After.
Then I'd like to make the motion to approve the signing for the expansion of the FDOT documentation. Do I have a second?
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Right, so that motion passes. As far as the discussion items go, one of the things that I've had conversations for years about with TCC, but never really got too far, was I do want a clearer understanding of exactly what Canoa is paying for. There are staff positions that Canoa pays into. There are different things that Canoa pays into that I don't know that the business side of things receives any, services or benefit from. So I would like to have a discussion kind of openly. What is Canoa currently paying and CJC? What is our contributions to CJC doing for the Canoa community?
Sure. So there are 44 staff members that work out of town hall. 22 of them are CROA specific. That's the maintenance team, the parks and rec team, and the service area team. The other 22 are CJC paid staff. So that's the administrative staff, me, the community manager, IT, the front counter ladies, the finance manager, and the resident services manager. It's the lifestyles and communications team. So three individuals right now. And it is also the community standards team. So that's 5 inspectors, 2 admin, an ARC coordinator, and a community standards manager. Of all those positions, only one of the inspectors is fully dedicated to Canoa. The rest of the staff provide ancillary support to Canoa and CROA through CJC.
I was about to say, can you make that bigger? But I think I can. Never mind. I can see it.
Oh,
I
it's
have-
the
I
budget
mean-
piece. Sorry, I'm switching over to CJC right now.
Oh, okay.
I mean, the one, I wouldn't call it a problem, but the
22.
one concern that I have is, CROA's board has to look out for the residential side of things. And I understand that. And, that's what their job as a board is tasked to do. As Canoa, I feel it's our job is to look out for the business community. And I just wonder, out of those 22's, people positions that we pay for, it seems like only a very, very small handful of them actually provide services to Canoa. Obviously, this is probably more of a discussion on the CJC side, but I think as a Canoa board, that's a discussion that we need to talk about. Like, what are we actually contributing to here?
So the other piece that you have to remember is all the apartment complexes, those residents are assisted by the resident services team. Those residents are allowed to attend CROA events, use CROA amenities. So from the business perspective, you're really seeing more of it on the apartment complex side. And then from the lifestyles team perspective, it's the events downtown. And I think the thought in the past, I can't be, certain because I wasn't here, was that promotes additional foot traffic downtown and helps businesses that way.
But the apartments
yeah.
pay a separate recreation fee, right? I mean, that would
They
be
do pay,
for-
yeah. So the recreation fee is for the the operating cost of the amenities. And that's, you know, landscaping, water, electric, insurance, the reserve fund, and then the staff salaries that go into managing those amenities. And there's a specific formula that was contractually negotiated by TCC. So they're paying not only rec fees, but CNOA dues.
I mean, you've already, I know, been working on budgets for the next year, and you know that's something that we need to, you know, these are things that we're going to have to talk about in the future. But yeah, my whole concern is just before, when it was TCC controlled CNOA board, there was really no discussion. But now that, you know, they've resigned their Class B membership, and people are going to be looking at us as a board to look after the best interest of businesses, I just want to make sure that we're doing that. That's all.
Certainly.
Can you put the agenda back up?
Yeah.
I think the question might be also is, as you're doing budgets, is should anything change? Because I don't know if this formula has changed at all over time. And, you know, is it, you know, when you're doing your budget, I mean, I guess I'm more you, Lauren, because this is all under you, is, you know, is that staff, you know, exact what you think it is in terms of the percentage wise. Unfortunately, if it's less on CNOA, it's going to be more on CROA, obviously, but certainly it needs to be fair and equitable. And I didn't know if that was kind of looked at, or that's something that you kind of just year from last budget you took over and did that, or is there somebody been looking at that previously?
So I don't know if anybody was looking at that previously. It's something that we're looking at now. It's also something at the CJC expenditure level that we've been looking at over the last couple of years, because there were a lot of expenditures that were put into CJC that rightfully belong under CROA. The best example I have is the work cell phones for a lot of the managers. It was all getting booked to CJC. Well, half of those managers only support CROA, so why is then CNOA effectively helping fund those cell phones? I mean, that's
Right.
small potatoes in the grand scheme of things, but there were a lot of things like that were getting booked to CJC.
And that's the exact type of thing that I'm talking about. Although that's small, I don't want any of our businesses to ever take a deeper dive into the finances and then ask us, you know, why were we contributing towards, you know, X when we don't get anything from that. So I would like that looked into as you do your budget.
Yeah, so, and this kind of bleeds into discussion item C. As we finalize the initial draft of the 2025 budget, I'll call out the changes that we've made to CJC, so you can see where some reductions have been made and where there might be room for additional conversation in terms of, okay, you're probably not getting the best bang for your buck here, and this is why.
Okay. All right.
And Lauren-
Amber, Lee, any more discussion on that discussion item A regarding the CNOA contribution to CJC?
Lauren, can you clarify when the budget is going to be drafted?
It should be done by the end of this week, if not beginning of next week. All the legwork is done. The CROA and CJC initial drafts are done. So I just want to do one more review of CNOA before I kick it out to you guys.
Okay, thank you.
Anything big that you see on the horizon? Any changes? I mean, no big increases or anything, or are you seeing any issues?
Your big impact is going to be the insurance number. That's always the wild card for you guys. Other than that, your contribution increase is capped at 3.4% right now, because that's the current CPI. If that goes down over the next couple of months, then your contribution will go down as well. So between insurance and that contribution, those are your big ticket numbers. The one big change you have from this budget to next year's budget is we do have the CNOA dedicated vehicle. So, but that's going to be a nominal amount in the overall scheme of things.
Also, yeah, some of the new costs that you'll see, both Lee and Amber, is not only the vehicle, but gas, maintenance, those types of things for that dedicated vehicle. And then we will also incur a new cost, which actually will roll us right into B. If you guys are, is there any more discussion on item A? Because a budget question that I have is kind of pertaining to B as well, the CNOA ARC process. Currently, the way the process worked under TCC is Todd Rimmer, who worked for TCC, worked directly with Mark Jones, the architect, on ARC applications and approvals or denials and that type of thing. Now that TCC is no longer with us on the board, we will now have a fee that we would have to pay Mark Jones. Mark Jones was on a retainer with Disney, and CNOA was not paying individual fees for ARC inspections. I mean, ARC approval process. We've got to figure out a way to streamline this process where not every single ARC application is going to the architect, because that will run up our costs as a board. So I would like to kind of discuss the process. Lauren, did you have any ideas of the best way to streamline this?
Yeah, so, and talking to Chris, who handles the ARC applications on our team, and then with council, my suggestion would be all ARC applications come to Chris. He reviews them, kicks back any that he knows are going to get rejected to the owner with commentary based on his experience. Anything that he thinks is a easy approval or easy for the board to decide, it would go to the CNOA board sitting as the ARC committee. And then if something was questionable or you felt like you needed additional guidance from the architect, then and only then would we send it to him for commentary, and then it would come back to you guys with his comments for you guys to either approve or deny.
Is he, well, how would he be charging for services?
It would be an hourly rate.
Do we know what the rate is? A rate locked in or anything? And then we're talking about Mark Jones, is that what we're talking about?
Yeah. So
Is
I
he
think his
Go ahead, I'm
proposed
sorry.
rate was about $250 an hour, I believe, the last time I talked to him.
If we did Jeffrey, would he be any cheaper?
He is cheaper, yes. I
we-
think he's a
could
good $50 an hour cheaper.
And he's already doing stuff for you guys, right? I mean, I assume, right? Didn't you guys hire him back? Yeah.
Yeah.
And Jeffrey Mallon, by the way, is a town architect. So he was a town architect before Disney hired Mark Jones and LRK. So he
Yeah.
was working before. So it's not like he doesn't know the stuff. I'm not sure we have to worry about the $50. You know, it's a big deal, but it is an opportunity, and maybe just an opportunity for Lauren to use, or her staff to use the same. Would that help the process, or that doesn't make any difference really? Because this is more you guys really, you know, process wise.
It doesn't, I mean, it doesn't make any difference if I'm going to Mark or Jeffrey for
Okay.
those ones. Yeah.
We probably need to come up with a resolution, though, right, on how the process is
Yeah.
going to work.
So, yeah, I would have, if you guys are kind of okay with that general concept of how we do that, then I'll have legal draft that resolution for you so you guys can adopt it, because it's effectively a rules change under CNOA, and then we'd have a notice period, and then it would go into effect.
So let me just see if I got this clarified then. So all applications will go first to Chris. He's only going to reject the ones that are obvious no's. The rest he'll summarize in some type of report or email or something to us as a CNOA board. And then if we feel this is something that we need an architect to weigh in on, then it will go to either Mark Jones or Jeffrey Moen before the final approvals or denials are given. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
My question, I think Amber brought this up, is in terms of budget wise, do we have to now have a line item that wasn't there previously? And then how do you, and then what, you know, I mean, I guess defer to you, Lauren, and staff to kind of put up a number to budget for this, right?
Yeah, so it is a new line item, and what I would do is I would go through the applications we've had over the last year and say, okay, what really needed to go to Mark, or what could have been decided on by a board, and come up with a kind of an hourly assumption and put it in there for your budget.
And whether we go with Mark Jones or Jeffrey Moen, we're going to have some kind of design guidelines that we as a board can look at, right?
Yeah, so we have the original CNOA design guidelines. We have the new ones for the World Drive properties. I'm just waiting on the design guidelines from Mark on the new apartment complex and businesses out in Island Village.
We probably would have a
Okay.
recommendation from the architect, right? I mean, if it comes to us, is that how it's gonna work? It's gonna, or
Mhm.
I mean, you're not gonna have the architect approve the stuff. They're gonna have the architect make a recommendation, send to us, or is that how it's gonna work?
Yes. Mhm.
Okay, so,
That's if it gets that far.
yeah, right. So if it gets to the architect, so if we see it, what I'm understanding is if we see it, we're gonna have a recommendation from an architect. We should already have a recommendation from the architect, right?
No, if we feel like the board can make the decision themselves, then
Mm.
we'll just push it to you guys for you guys to say yay, nay, or yay with conditions. And then only if you as a board feel like you need it or would like a recommendation from the architect, then we would kick it to the architect.
And let me see if I kind of grasp this in an example. So say business X wants to paint the building the exact same that it's always been painted. That'd be a probably pretty obvious yes. That's something that at the board level we could approve. However, if they wanted to go with some paint scheme that's totally different than what they've had before, that's something we would probably have to kick to the architect, right?
Yeah, I mean, if it was like bubblegum pink, then yeah, you might want to send that to Mark and just get his thoughts on it.
Okay, so the basic decisions can be made at our level. We're only going to send the ones that are a little bit more complicated or that we're not sure about to the architect.
Mhm.
And then it will come back to us with a recommendation, right?
Mhm.
Okay.
I don't mean to ask, so that's the ARC process. How does how does a covenant process work? Is it, it's probably not changed, right? But I'm not sure I completely understand it, maybe.
So, Chris does the inspection, sends the first letter. They have their specified time frame to respond. If they don't respond and remain out of compliance, we put it on an upcoming CNOA board meeting for you guys to propose fines to the covenants committee. If you propose fines, then it goes to the covenants committee for them to vote to either confirm or reject the fines. And then they get their fine letter from the attorney and you move through the process that way. It's very similar to CROA. It's just a longer response timeframes.
Now, that's the other thing. Does that require a bylaw change or a resolution if we want to change from the 30-day notice to the 45 like CROA uses?
CROA uses 14.
I thought it was a longer one.
Mm-mm.
Oh, okay. So we have 30-day, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
So
from a business perspective, it makes a little bit more sense to give them a little bit more lead time because they usually have to run those additional expenditures up the ladder a little bit. But if you wanted to do a time frame change, then we would have to, I think that's a charter change.
yeah, probably 60% vote. That's fine.
And
When
where
we get
is it? Sorry, go ahead.
when we get the reports from Chris, whether that be biweekly or however, can he also like let us know what he said no to though, so that if any of us get asked, at least we'll know the reason for a denial?
Certainly, yes, we can provide a biweekly or weekly update depending on the volume of ARC applications of saying, hey, this is what was received this week. We rejected X, Y, and Z, and these are headed your way.
Okay, just so we don't get blindsided. Like somebody says to us, hey, how come we got denied this? At least we know what Chris had communicated to them.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. Any other questions about the CNOA ARC process?
Nope.
All right. We already discussed the budget. You said maybe as early as next week.
Yes, it will definitely get to you early next week.
Okay. Item D, which is the September meeting to discuss the CDC cost sharing agreement and negotiations. Lauren, can you let Lee and Amber know what the current agreement is?
So the current CJC cost sharing agreement between CNOA and CROA is CNOA's annual increase contribution to CJC is capped by CPI when it's pulled in October. So for last year, it was 4%. Right near CPI is sitting at 3.4%. So instead of, it used to be a 75-25 split. So over the last few years, that's changed a little bit. I think you're right now at about an 85-15 split about. So the split is slowly moving towards CNOA's favor.
Okay. And this will be September. We'll meet with, can we meet since there's only 3 board members, can all 3 of us meet with CJC to discuss this?
Yeah, I don't see why not. We would have to notice the meeting as a CNOA board meeting, but you could potentially do a joint CNOA CJC meeting. And we'll just notice it as a joint meeting.
Okay. Yeah, because I'd like, Amber and Lee's input at that meeting, to see, by then we'll have a better understanding of what CNOA is funding and what services we're receiving from that before we enter into that cost sharing agreement with CJC.
Mhm. Yep.
You okay with that, Lee and Amber, being a part of that?
Yes, I'm okay with that.
For sure.
Any other discussion on that?
No, not on that. I mean, I would say CJC, I have board comment, but it has to do with CJC since you guys are on it. And you guys are representing CJC and going to the next CJC meeting, but I think the water tower, is that something that could be brought up at the next meeting in terms of, I know Disney spent a couple of years ago, or it wasn't Disney, CJC spent money to rehab it and stuff, but since then we still haven't been able to see, I don't know if they have it. The lights don't seem to be working. And also, they used to be able to promote events, or there were some banners. And I don't know if actually when CJC redid it, if they actually have the ability to put the banners back up and that kind of stuff. It may be something that for the businesses that may be helpful. So I just wanted to bring that up, and maybe Lauren knows, but maybe if not, then bring it up the next CJC meeting, since it's the only piece of property they own.
Yeah, the lights are being repaired, I think, next week.
Okay.
The banner piece, the pulley system was broken, like right before we started in November 2021, from my understanding from Nikki. We actually need to do some additional repairs on the water tower because the repairs that were done were not up to the engineer's standards. So CJC is going to actually hopefully select a vendor at the next meeting to get that going. And as part of that project, I will be asking that they add in putting up the pulley pieces so we can raise those banners again.
Okay. And do we have the banners, or do we need new banners? Is there something that, in terms of CJC, I mean, CROA probably wants something, CNOA wants, something like that. I don't know if the banners are still there, if they're still, it's been probably what, 3-4 years since they've been up, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
guessing.
so we have the farmers market banner still.
Right.
And I think we still have the marathons banner.
Oh, cool.
But we might need to purchase some updated ones.
Okay.
What I'd like to see is if we can get that banner a little bit higher too than the farmer's market banner. It sat really, really low. Years ago, the pulley system was actually much higher up and you could actually see it. The last few banners that have been displayed were really low hanging.
Yeah, it's because we can only get it up as high as we can get the ladders.
Oh, funny.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, actually, Lee, there's 3 proposals that are going to be discussed at the CJC meeting on that water tower repairs.
Okay, good. Yeah. I think at nighttime, it's a big miss. People drive by, it's the first thing people see. So just for, aesthetics, it's nice to have lights on it as soon as possible.
Yep.
Yes. Any other board comments or discussion? Okay. Like to make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
aye.
We will log back in a little while for CJC.
Let me ask you that. Oh, sorry.
Wait,
Do you have a schedule for these meetings, by the way? Is this
So I was
regular,
gonna-
monthly?
I was gonna send out a doodle poll because we've scheduled them previously around a Paige's schedule, so I don't know. I'd rather schedule it around your guys' schedule and what works for you. It was typically the third Tuesday of the second month of the quarter. But, you know, my schedule's flexible, so I'd rather work it around your guys' schedule.
Do you
Okay,
have a
cool.
preference?
No, if I know what it is, I'm
No.
flexible. I have a couple other meetings I'll schedule around, so not a big deal. This is easy to get into Zoom if we need to, or Teams or whatever, so it's not a huge deal.
Now,
Same
Lauren,
thing.
during this transition though, do we need to have a meeting sooner than 3 months from now?
Yeah, I'm gonna send out some proposed dates for September, so you guys can look at budget, look at financials and, discuss the cost sharing agreement. So I'll send out some proposed dates in September.
Okay,
Can you also set up a meeting? I guess Chris is the ARC, the covenant person, is that right? Or
Yep.
I don't think I know him, but I'd like to just hear his thoughts on covenants, on basically how he does his stuff, that kind of stuff, in terms of I like to be able to, maybe if there's a possibility to meet him at some point and kind of just see, how he does it, what he does, and kind of just if I could help in any way or anything. So
I will send an email introduction to you and him, and you guys can set up a time to meet.
perfect. Thank you.
and for the September meeting, can we get back to giving us a management report so we know the status of the different properties that are in default or being
Yes,
looked at?
that'll be our standard meeting. This one, I just wanted to make sure we could
Yep.
conduct critical business.
Yep. And then, do you need me to stop by tomorrow to sign that I-4 expansion
Yes, please.
document? All right, I'll stop by tomorrow.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. We'll see you in a little bit.
All right, see you in a
Bye.
little bit.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.